a very good evening. Welcome to the Nightline with me, Razi Ahmad.
And of course, here with me, Cheryl Chamina, and thank you for joining us tonight. So, Razi, let's get to the headlines.
All right. Sarawak stands to achieve its vision to become a developed state by 2030. This vision could be realized once Sarawakians command a higher level of technological knowledge and innovation. According to Chief Minister Dato' Pantigi Abang Johari Tun Openg, there are two exemplary nations which Sarawak could turn to in realizing this vision, namely Estonia in terms of technology applications and South Korea for the quality of its people's innovations.
Sarawak has one advantage. We can follow Estonia in terms of technology application. We can follow Korea with the quality of its people. On top of that, we have the resources that Korea hasn't got. Now, if you compare the two, I'm sure Sarawak can achieve a developed state by 2030.
He said this when officiating the Sarawak Civil Service Innovation Convention Awards 2020 in Kuching today. Abang Johari also added that in line with the vision, government service delivery approaches would need to be integrated further by focusing on citizen-centered approach-based outcomes.
This citizen-centric approach innovates and simplifies service delivery by focusing on what governments are trying to achieve in terms of citizen outcomes, integrating information among multiple silo systems, and working collaboratively with other agencies.
He also said the COVID-19 pandemic had created a new type of citizen in a new type of world, increasing speed and the demand for change and responsiveness regardless of their demographics.
It seems that the citizens know more. They are better educated, with ready access to technologies that not only force governments to be more transparent, but able to rethink notions of transparency.
Right. Now, the younger generation, especially students at the primary school level, need to instill talent, creativity and culture in the effort to digitalize education through animation. Now, Chief Minister Dato' Patinggi Abang Johari Tun Openg said the three components were the foundations that could give a wider understanding in their learning.
This vision was in line with the state government's direction through Sarawak Multimedia Authority and the Ministry of Education in cultivating learning through digital animation.
Negeri China sekarang ini dia mengajarkan ilmu sains melalui permainan games di dalam mengumpulkan animasi dan juga matematik dia, sains dia dipaparkan di dalam corak animasi. Jadi kepahaman budak tu saya fikir dia boleh faham lebih baik daripada waktu saya dululah.
Chief Minister Dato' Patinggi Abang Johari commented that cues can be taken from foreign countries such as China, which inculcates animation in their national education syllabus. He said so at the incentive awarding ceremony to two SK Tabong students who recently won an award at the Alvarado International School Film Festival at Wisma Bapak, Malaysia today. The state government today gave incentives amounting to 25,000 ringgit to Megres Sawit and Nabiatul Dania Zulfika Muhammad Zulfadli of SK Temong Serian in recognition to their achievement. Megres and Nabiatul were declared winners of the Best Film by popular jury in the primary school category at a film festival also known as Festival de Cinema Escola de Alvarado through their short animation film called Batuh Bijanji. Meanwhile, SK Temong headmaster Cleveland Rodden said the school was honoured by the achievement of the two students at the national level despite the limitations they faced.
Mereka berdua berminat untuk membuat film ini secara rotoskop, dan kalau kita fikirkan film yang segini tidak disangka dapat disiapkan dalam masa 10 hari.
As for the two students, their winnings at the national level was unexpected. However, their achievement was fuel for the motivation to take their craft to the next level.
Bersyukur dan teruja mendengar kami mendapat menang dalam pertandingan ini. Dan ini kejayaan kami bersama sekumpulan.
Banyak yang bantu kami adalah guru bimbingan, Cikgu Wan dan Cikgu Ridwan, doa dari keluarga, sokongan dari kawan-kawan, pihak pentadbir.
The support given by the members of Parliament for Budget 2021 showed that they realized the importance of the programs for the people, especially in the effort to fight the COVID-19 pandemic. The Prime Minister said the budget was also very important for the government to improve the people's standard of living, especially the B40, M40, the vulnerable and the less fortunate groups. Expressing his gratitude for the budget approval, he thanked all MPs of Barisan Nasional, Gabungan Parti Sarawak, Parti Bersatu Sabah, and PN for supporting the budget from the policy to the committee stages and its third reading. The budget, the first by the Perikatan Nasional Government, was passed in the Dewan Rakyat on Tuesday when the Supply Bill 2021 or Budget 2021 received the majority support of MPs. The bill was passed by block vote after its third reading by Finance Minister Tengku Datuk Sri Zafrul Tengku Abdul Aziz. It was witnessed by 111 MPs supporting, 108 rejecting and 1 absentee. The Prime Minister said the solid support proved that whatever actions taken by the PN government were always for the sake of the people's welfare, safety and well-being, as well as to revive the country's economy.
Yang pasti kita lihat bahawa undi sokongan terhadap bajet ini disokong atas dasar untuk memastikan kebajikan rakyat terpelihara, pembayaran gaji tepat pada masanya dan peruntukan pembangunan di seluruh negara ini berjalan dengan lancar. Sekiranya tidak dapat diluluskan, maka banyak perkara pembangunan, pembayaran gaji akan tergendala.
Right. Now, a proclamation of emergency has been declared for the Garut Parliamentary Constituency in Perak and the Bugaya State Constituency in Sabah today. A state of emergency in both these constituencies will, in effect, postpone the by-elections for both seats indefinitely.
The proclamation of emergency was based on Clause 1, Article 150 of the Federal Constitution, to promulgate the emergency powers necessary to cancel and postpone the by-elections originally scheduled for January 16, 2021. In a statement, Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin said that on December 4th, the Cabinet had discussed in detail the impact of the Geri and Bugaya by-elections if they were to be held at a time when COVID-19 was still rampant. Based on a decision taken at the Cabinet meeting, Muhyiddin then presented his advice to the King. The Yang di-Pertuan Agong Al-Sultan Abdullah Riayatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah made the declaration after studying the explanation given by Muhyiddin. The Prime Minister extended his thanks to His Majesty for agreeing to declare a state of emergency in both constituencies. Meanwhile, the Election Commission has stated it will conform with the Declaration of Emergency Proclamation. EC Chairman Dato Abdul Ghani Saleh said following this declaration, any proceedings that have begun for the purpose of holding the by-election for Geri and Bugaya will not be continued, and another date will be set for the by-elections. Over in Perak, the new Menteri Besar, Dato Sarani Mohamad, said that the emergency proclamation for the Geri constituency will definitely help curb the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic. Sarani said if the Geri by-elections is held, it will cause the influx of people from outside the district and the situation could increase the risk. Welcome back. The National Film Development Corporation Malaysia, or FINAS, will rigorously move to join many international film festivals.
Now, this is a way for FINAS to gauge the competitiveness of local films in the international stage.
The move will also realize the wish of the Minister of Communications and Multimedia, Dato Saifuddin Abdullah, who wants to start an Oscar project beginning next year. According to the FINAS chairman, Zakaria Abdul Hamid, FINAS was forced to postpone their participation in international competitions following the threat of the COVID-19 pandemic worldwide. However, FINAS will continue to pave ways for local works to scale the global level once the COVID-19 is over. Through FINAS Corporation members meeting, 33 international film festivals were recognized. Eligible film participation will be announced. However, more film publishers are encouraged to participate.
Now, the Ministry of Communications and Multimedia will always support every effort and initiative to re-empower the creative industry that was affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, its Minister Datuk Saifuddin Abdullah said every industry practitioner must be keen to seize every opportunity to be had from this support.
He urged every industry player to take the opportunities from the Ministry and the National Film Development Corporation Malaysia, or FINAS, to develop the national creative and film industries. He also expressed hope that everyone can be united in producing quality works of art, while at the same time reinvigorating the industry in line with the goal of reaching the international stage. He said this when officiating the launch of online theatre Rasa in Kuala Lumpur on Tuesday. The Election Commission, EC, will have more polling centres and polling streams. This is to encourage the people to come out and vote if the 15th general election is held in the new normal atmosphere due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Deputy Minister in the Prime Minister's Department, Parliament and Law, Dato' Shabuddin Yahaya, said this will be done to allay fears among voters, as the pandemic will be around for a while. The EC members said rules and regulations for the limit of people per place will be implemented.
Peraturan-peraturan yang akan diperkenalkan ialah dengan membanyakkan tempat-tempat ataupun pusat daerah mengundi dan juga membanyakkan saluran-saluran mengundi. Oleh yang demikian, proses pengundian akan berjalan dengan lebih segera dan akan selesai lebih awal. Jadi ini memberi satu jaminan dan keyakinan kepada pengundi-pengundi bahawa mereka akan dapat melalui atau melaksanakan proses pengundian dengan lebih cepat, dengan lebih sempurna dan insya-Allah akan terselamat daripada gejala COVID tersebut.
Shabuddin stressed that standard operating procedures for the election to prevent spread of COVID-19 had already been issued by the Health Ministry and National Security Council. Said this in reply to a question from Idris on EC's preparedness to conduct the election in the new normal.
Now, the federal government's debt to gross domestic product, or GDP ratio, as at November 2020 was 818.2 billion ringgit, or 56.8%. Now, Finance Minister Tengku Datuk Seri Zafrul Tengku Abdul Aziz said the national debt GDP ratio had been set at 60%.
Status kedudukan hutang Kerajaan Persekutuan berdasarkan had statutory di bawah Akta Langkah-Langkah Sementara bagi Pembiayaan Kerajaan ataupun dalam kurungan penyakit coronavirus 2019, Akta 830. Ia meliputi instrumen MGS, MGII dan juga MITB. Oleh itu, paras hutang ni berdasarkan had statutory masih lagi di bawah had 60.
To Muhammad Yusmadi's original question on the government's debt related to a mega project that was scrapped by the Pakatan Harapan government, Tengku Zafrul said the present government was obliged to continue with the repayment as set in the agreement. He added that a number of delayed projects such as the Light Rail Transit 3, Mass Rapid Transit 2 and East Coast Rail Link have been resumed, albeit with refined scope and cost.
Masa yang sama, terdapat juga beberapa projek seperti projek kereta api laju KL Singapura HSR, projek Trans Sabah Gas Pipeline TSGP, Mass Rapid Transit 3 MRT 3 dan projek Multi Product Pipeline MPP yang masih dalam proses rundingan untuk diteruskan semula.
The government has not made any decision to reintroduce the Goods and Services Tax, or commonly known as GST, in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic. Finance Minister Tengku Datuk Seri Zafrul Abdul Aziz said the government's priority is to fight the pandemic, protect the people and support businesses. Nevertheless, he said the government was studying and soliciting views as well as feedback from various parties of interest on any feasible consumption tax models, while taking into account every aspect, including the weaknesses of the current sales and services tax and previous GST.
Now on to banking, as mobile bank services equipped with automated teller machines or ATM will be launched in several rural areas in Sarawak at the end of January next year.
Finance Minister Tengku Datuk Seri Zafrul Tengku Abdul Aziz said Bank Negara Malaysia had established cooperation with the Sarawak government and several financial institutions, namely Agrobank, Bank Rakyat, Bank Simpanan Nasional and RHB Bank in an effort to increase financial inclusion.
Pelbagai usaha yang berterusan dan saluran alternatif juga disediakan oleh institusi kewangan bagi menyokong dan meningkatkan penyampaian kemudahan asas perkhidmatan perbankan di Sarawak, termasuk juga melalui pelantikan ejen bank.
He said so in reply to a question from Senator Susan Chemerai Anding on the mobile bank services that will be expanded in Sarawak, including the bank involved, the date of operation, and the area that will benefit from the service in Sarawak.
Inisiatif yang telah dilaksanakan adalah menggalakkan pembangunan saluran hantaran kewangan yang berasaskan teknologi seperti perbankan internet dan mudah alih serta e-dompet di mana transaksi perbankan boleh dilakukan di mana-mana dan pada bila-bila masa saja.
Hello there again and welcome back. Now, a total of 1,295 new COVID-19 cases were reported in the country today. Now, this brings the cumulative total of positive cases to 87,913 as the number of active cases increased from 14,515 to 14,751.
Health Director General Dr. Noor Hisham Abdullah said that from 1,295 new infections reported today, only 10 were imported cases. As for daily COVID-19 cases, Dr. Noor Hisham stated that Selangor recorded the highest number up to date, which had 481 cases or 37.1%. Meanwhile, Sarawak recorded its fourth consecutive day of zero positive COVID-19 cases today, maintaining the total number of positive cases in the state at 1,075. Only one cluster remains active in the state, which is the Besi cluster, with the 12 cases including its index case.
The COVID-19 pandemic has not dampened Sarawak Energy from advancing its major projects, while continuing to build a sustainable energy future for Sarawak and towards becoming a regional powerhouse. As such, to ensure that Sarawak remains at the forefront of renewable energy in renewable and affordable hydropower in Sarawak, supported the diverse application of alternative renewables like solar and hydrogen, exploring production and application on moving forward to a green and sustainable energy. A floating solar system is to be developed in Batang Ai Hydro Dam, which will generate an estimated 50 megawatts of power. As such, the pandemic also catalyzed change in the way the company runs its business, accelerating the aspiration to be a digital utility by 2025.
The COVID-19 pandemic has not stopped us from advancing our major projects as we work towards our vision. And in all our projects, it is crucial to address the health and safety concerns first, with the support and guidance of the Sarawak government. We resume work in most of our critical projects, use stringent COVID-19 SOPs and safety measures in place. And I'm pleased to report that work on the balik HGP is progressing well as we continue to maintain stringent SOPs concerning movement of workers to and from the project site, including the establishment of site quarantine facilities. When fully commissioned in 2026, Balik HGP will join Sarawak's stable of existing hydropower plants and support Sarawak's aspiration to become a regional powerhouse of renewable and affordable energy.
Right. Now, to ensure that no one gets left in the dark, some 150,000 new rural households across the state have been connected with 24-hour electricity as Sarawak Energy looks to achieve 100% coverage by 2025. Now, at the same time, this is increasing the overall domestic electricity coverage in Sarawak to 98% by 2020 under the Accelerated Rural Electrification Master Plan by Utilities Ministry.
And since last year, our customer base has grown, and we are now serving about 710,000 customers, covering domestic, commercial, industrial, and export customers through an extensive transmission and distribution network. Our manpower has also increased to 5,400 multidisciplinary staff from 5,000 in 2019. Our vision still remains to achieve sustainable growth and prosperity for Sarawak by meeting the region's need for reliable and renewable energy. And this sets the scene for us to build on our regional ambition and hopefully next generation of growth. To be fully, Sarawak Energy aims to ensure that Sarawak will be fully electrified before 2025, and we are working closely with the Ministry of Utility to achieve these goals. Since 2009, about 150,000 households have been lighted up under the various rural electrification strategies. And currently, we're at 95% rural coverage, and with the aim to reach 97% in the next couple of months. And hopefully that we will be able to achieve that by end of first quarter next year.
Sharbini pointed out in managing its business to minimize any negative impact of our operations and our environment and maximize the positive impact for the community, in which renewable hydropower made up 75% of its energy mix, complemented by coal and natural gas, which enables Sarawak Energy to offer the lowest unsubsidized tariff in Malaysia and amongst the most competitive in the region. A man reported missing last Monday has been found, but with the lower half of his body missing. A spokesman for the State Fire and Rescue Department's Operations Center said the victim's body was found by the search and rescue team at 10:35 a.m. on Wednesday, about 1 kilometer upstream from Kampong Maranik.
The victim, Muhammad Razid Hamran, aged 27, was reported missing at about 11 p.m. on Monday after going out by boat to find snails at the river where his body was later found. The villagers initiated a search operation when Muhammad Razid failed to return home, but to no avail. They lodged a police report after his boat was spotted adrift near the Samarahan-Maranik Main Road Bridge.
Now on to world news as a 6.2 magnitude earthquake rattled Sarangani province in the southern Philippines at 7:22 a.m. this morning. Now here are the updates on the story.
The Malaysian Meteorology Department, Met Malaysia, in a statement said the quake occurred about 158 kilometers south of Coronadal City in the Philippines at a depth of 10 kilometers. Indonesia's Meteorology, Climatology and Geophysical Agency listed the quake at magnitude 6.2 on the Richter scale. Now, based on the preliminary seismic data, the quake should have been widely felt by almost everyone in the area of the epicenter and might have caused light to moderate damage. Moderate shaking probably occurred in Sarangani, located 19 kilometers from the epicenter, and Pangyan, 57 kilometers away. However, the quake posed no tsunami threat to Malaysia. And that concludes the news updates for tonight. I'm Razi Ahmad.
And of course, here with me, Cheryl Shamina, and thank you for tuning in to TVS Nightline tonight. We'll see you next time. Have a good night.